And before I invite to the stage the co-authors to read it out to you, there's a little context for those of you who haven't been there from day one. The idea of this unconference was that it is not only a space of listening and updating each other, but building relationships and making these relationships fruitful and creative. So we've made this experiment that started with our discussions the day before yesterday morning. We tuned into care and spread out into circles of care, in which you've discussed, all of you, specific aspects of care. And then each of these circles had a very brave rapporteur that took upon themselves to bring forward the discussion of the circle into a co-writing group that have met all afternoon yesterday to discuss together how to bring that into the manifesto. Then we had another very brave person, Elidio, who will come to stage in a moment. And after dinner yesterday evening, I asked Ines, shall we feed Elidio? He's not there. Shall we bring food to the hotel? And she said, no, he had a sandwich.
We must never stop crossing our borders. We must never stop nurturing connections, and we must never stop dismantling barriers. If we are to envision a world where care may know no borders.
Care for the commons. The commons are a sphere of tangible and intangible resources, vital for the reproduction of life. Cultural heritage, knowledge, and resources are an essential part of these commons that must also be protected and shared as a living expression of humanity's place in the world. In the face of urgent environmental and socio-economic challenges, we must establish forms of governance, processes, and ethics to defend and care for the commons. We recognize that cultural organizations have a special responsibility in preserving and promoting our cultural commons, ensuring equitable access and participation. But we also recognize that this responsibility must extend far beyond the limits where our material and immaterial heritage are inscribed. It must encompass our social and economic commons and our work towards a more caring and democratic society.
So, communities of care. For decades, a relentless acceleration has pushed us towards extreme forms of individualism and competition, cornering us into a fast-paced state of loneliness. Communities are the heart of care, and culture can play a central role in fostering these inclusive and supportive networks. Cultural organizations create resilient communities that address inequalities and uplift marginalized voices through intergenerational care and solidarity. By providing tangible spaces for connection and mutual aid, we deepen our democracies, empower individuals and communities.
Care and mental health. We recognize our current mental health emergency exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Cultural organizations are crucial in starting up and liberating conversations about our mental health issues, promoting mental health awareness, and providing safe spaces for healing, self-expression, and connection. By prioritizing care for mental health and fostering social inclusion through cultural participation, we can contribute to a society that values and supports individual and collective well-being. Culture has, in fact, an essential role to play in addressing these illnesses, not just as an add-on to existing medical treatments, but as a proven effective healthcare response in their own right.
Care and youth. Young people deserve a culture of care that uplifts and empowers them, recognizing their agency and potential. cultural organizations must prioritize their needs and aspirations, providing spaces for co-creation and co-decision. By fostering intergenerational dialogue and engaging with the youth on their own terms, we can cultivate resilient communities and nurture the artists, the audiences, and the cultural professionals of the future.
Care for the work of culture. To build an authentic culture of care, culture organizations must lead by example. We must implement a politics and ethics of care within our own institutions, challenging existing structures and nurturing a culture of care through active engagement. By valuing the well-being of cultural workers, sharing decision-making power, and providing support for their professional development, we create a sustainable and thriving culture sector.
Just come here. Curating care. As curators, we are custodians of our society's past, present, and future in partnership with our communities. We take on the role of the storyteller and bring meaning to our collective memory and artistic expressions. It is a far-reaching responsibility to shape how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. As such, we have a responsibility to curate care into our narratives by bringing together diverse perspectives, by exploring new connections, and by amplifying underrepresented voices. Curation becomes a means to foster inclusivity, appreciation, and dialogue, a tool to sow the seeds of care. By nurturing a culture of care, we cultivate a society where every individual feels valued, supported, and empowered to thrive.
A call to action. By putting care at the core of our practices, we can promote well-being, transform society, and create a more just and equitable world. Together, we can cultivate a politics and ethics of care through culture, forging a path towards a sustainable, compassionate, and interconnected future. We invite cultural practitioners, organizations, policymakers, thinkers, researchers, activists, and artists to join us in rethinking the challenges of our time. Let us reimagine the role of culture in shaping our future. Thank you all. That's your text. Thank you very much. We've got something to take home. So I would like to go to the next part of this closing ceremony and invite Michael Mamarinos to the stage, please.